Constitutional Conversations is a series of discussions by America's leading scholars about the principles, framing, ratification, and implementation of constitutional government in the United States. This series is hosted by the James Madison Memorial Fellowship Foundation of Alexandria, Virginia.
The Fugitive Slave Clause was added toward the end of the Constitutional Convention, and it was taken from the Northwest Ordinance that had just been passed in Congress in New York City in July 1787. And in the Northwest Ordinance, slavery was prohibited in the Northwest Territory, but there was a Fugitive Slave Clause. Runaway slaves should be returned, and government authorities and private individuals should assist in the return of these fugitive slaves. And so the Constitutional Convention added that clause to the Constitution as a protection for Southerners. And one state where there was the most objection to that was in Massachusetts. Because in Massachusetts in 1781, a famous case occurred. It was the case of Quock Walker. He was a runaway slave, and he had established himself as a freeman. And his former owner, Matthew Jennison, found him and forced him back into slavery, beat him up. Walker would not go freely, and so Jennison took him back by force. Walker's friends sued in court for battery, and it went through a series of trials, ending up in the Massachusetts Supreme Court. In that, Chief Justice William Cushing, a slave owner himself, ruled that the Massachusetts Declaration of Rights, adopted in 1780, starts out, all men are created equal, which meant, in his judgment, slavery was unconstitutional in Massachusetts. And so by the time of the first federal census, there are no slaves in Massachusetts. Massachusetts had become the asylum for runaway slaves. And so it was there that white folks, and blacks as well, objected to this Fugitive Slave Clause because it meant Massachusetts could no longer serve as that asylum. Runaway slaves that got to Massachusetts would be forced to be returned to their owners.
Constitutional Conversations is made possible by a generous grant from the Fairleigh S. Dickinson Jr. Foundation. Constitutional Conversations is made possible by the James Madison Education Fund.